Welcome back to the second part of the session. Uh, Now it will be the paper titled How to Design Authenticated Key Exchange for Wearable Devices, Cryptanalysis of a key for Health Monitoring and Countermeasures via Distinct SMs with Key Split and Refresh. Will be presented by Dr. Lukasz.
Hello everybody, my name is Lukasz Krzywiecki and this is joint work with my PhD student, which is from Sweden. Actually, he did some projects for Swedish Transport Administration, and that paper is a kind of side product, side effect paper. We were trying to find out what is the current state of the research with some security enhancement techniques like split key with refreshment, and in what areas of industry it's currently researched. So, authenticated key exchange is the main character of my story. That is a protocol for establishing a secure symmetric key based upon asymmetric keys that are coined during the protocol by two parties, Alice and Bob. So Alice is usually in the role of initiator, which is the first party that sends its first message to the other party, and Bob is a responder in this play. And that area is quite well known. Actually, these protocols are quite old, and the problem that was puzzled at the very beginning is how to establish that session key, which need to be symmetric because of the efficiency of symmetric encryption, using the public key cryptography. So for that needs, Diffie-Hellman key exchange is usually used, and in order to mitigate well-known man-in-the-middle attacks, for the purpose of coining that secure session key, not only ephemeral public keys are used, but also static public keys from those both parties, so Alice and Bob. So maybe some requirements that need to be fulfilled when researchers design secure authenticated key exchange. First of all, it is authenticated. That's why both parties need to prove their identities. So this is where the authentication comes into play. So usually Bob needs to know that he's talking to Alice. Alice needs to know that she's talking to Bob, so the identities are exchanged and each party confirms that identity. Then both parties compute the same session key. And of course that session key should be secret to the outside world, so the external observer or even to the active attacker. It depends on the security model. The session key secrecy is usually modeled by a kind of a real or random game. There are some different aspects in different models, but usually when the protocol is completed, when both parties compute their session keys, then the attacker is given one of two possible keys, the real established session key denoted by KS, or a key which is random but that is indistinguishable from the pattern, from the template from that real session key. So the bit taken by the challenger is one when the real session key is given to the adversary, or when the bit drawn at random is 0, then the random key is given to the adversary. And after obtaining the challenge, after observing the transcript of the protocol, the adversary needs to output his own bit. And of course, the scheme is secure if that bit that is outputted by the adversary the chance of guessing the correct bit is just 1/2. It's just a simple guess. If there is a better solution for the adversary to find out what was the real choice of the challenger, then of course the protocol is not secure. And that is like a model, okay? The authenticated key exchange is secure when it fulfills the model, but we have the real implementations of such protocols. At the very beginning, we just, I mean, the researchers was thinking about monolithic design in which the whole protocol is implemented in a secure space. But of course, nowadays, we don't think about such a monolithic design. We don't trust our devices. For example, in some countries, the devices are not produced. The citizens need to trust the devices that comes from different places, from all over the world. And that's why the producers, the manufacturers, try to separate the area where the secret key is stored in a special modules of high security. We call it high security modules. And depending on the functionality of the modules, we call them, for example, signing modules, where we have in the device, we have the signing functionality, which could be the part of the whole construction. Then that signing module, which separates their functionality from the rest, stores the secret key and fulfills the fundamental security operations with that secret key. And on that slide, we denote that functionality with that bold F. So actually here we have it's like a BLS signature, where the message and hash over the message comes from that yellow unsecured unrestricted area. It goes to that high security module where exploitation of the secret key is done, and the result is sent back to that yellow area, and the rest of processing is done. Okay. But still, that design could be improved. So, for example, if we don't trust that high security module, this is the same story. We don't trust the device. We couldn't trust also the high security module. That's why we try to combine different security modules from different vendors, let's say. And then, of course, we can use splitting techniques, where the secret key is divided into components, into shares. One share goes to one high security module, the second goes to another high security module, and then even if, I mean, in theory, even if one part is revealed, is leaked, then the attacker still needs the other part to reconstruct the full secret. So we have that secret split is like the first technique. The second technique is a key refreshment. Because of all of these side channel attacks, someone could try to monitor radio frequencies that comes from that modules and try to decipher that secret components. That's why another technique is that those secret keys could be refreshed. And of course, in a synchronous mode. So, for example, we can take in each iteration, we take the previous secret key, and in one high security module, we subtract the randomness, and in the other high security module, we add that randomness that blinds the potential site. The potential electricity that could be monitored by that side channel attacks. And that refreshment that is synchronized could be viewed as an advantage or disadvantage. Okay, if something goes wrong, everything is desynchronized, the functionality cannot be fulfilled. But actually, the desynchronization was our initial interest for my PhD student. We were discussing about the scenario in which the train carries carriages, and the carriages have the cargo. That cargo shouldn't be separated from the carriage along all of the path, from the start to the end. So in such a system, we could think about carriage and cargo as two high security modules where partial secrets are set, and they do the synchronous refreshment using the roadside units as a source of randomness and some, let's say, gyroscopic sampling from the train. And from time to time, some test messages are sent to that system, and the two devices could sign that message, which is then verified by a single public key. And of course, if the cargo is removed from such a system, then the verification shouldn't hold. And that scenario is for the attacker that can try to extract a single partial secret once during the session, that attack session. So for example, he's asking, sign me the message, and then he's trying to monitor or maybe extract a part of that device, try to monitor the frequencies, radio frequencies to the side channel attack. But later he needs to put it back and maybe to attack the other device. So that refreshment allows to mitigate that potential attacks. So we were trying to find out where these kind of techniques are used nowadays. So we come across the paper that describes these solutions for medical devices. And in that general architecture, we have like a medical device that has two HSMs, probably from different vendors, and kind of functionality with split key shares are done in that high security modules to fulfill the overall functionality, which is like that authenticated key exchange. So for the wearable devices for medical scenarios, of course, at that very intuitive perspective, at the very high level abstraction, we have a patient that has some device attached to his body, and we have a nurse that should get the data. And of course, we have a bad guy, an evil which try to block that normal communication and then hijack the session, stealing that patient data, or maybe distracting the medical devices to kill the patient, the innocent patient. And from the architectural point of view, we are thinking about two devices that are equipped with two HSMs, and they are trying to communicate. They try to authenticate themselves to establish that secure session key. And of course, we have the attacker that tries to capture that session, that tries to be a man-in-the-middle attacker. In this model, we allow, as previously said, we allow the leakage from one high security module per session. So for example, here, let's say secret key 1 is leaked from HSM 1, secret key 2 is leaked from HSM 2 in the other device. Okay, this shouldn't help the attacker to reconstruct the full secret key. And this is the protocol that we found vulnerable. Actually, we just check what kind of papers are available, where these techniques are used, and we just try to to look at the construction, and we found it's vulnerable, although it has that mitigation techniques, like we have that initial split. We have that initial split. It's not visible. It's, I mean, it's not bright enough. So we have initial split, and then in each iteration we have refreshment. We have refreshment on that initiator Alice device. We have refreshment on the responder device. And then we have the typical Diffie-Hellman key exchange. The initiator just sums up those splitted shares that gives the just secret key, then mask that secret key with randomness. That randomness in the exponent is used to produce TI for the initiator. The same thing is done for the responder, that is producing TR in the same manner. Also, the parties are using max just to authenticate that computations. And also the parties are using something which is called out-of-bound channel. It's just like additional visible confirmation for the user. So when the devices are paired, the operator of those devices can check that some codes on both devices, some codes displayed on both devices are the same. It should be done in a human-readable manner. I mean, last digits should be compared, or some specific pattern that are coined from the session key, just to see that everything is okay. And with this construction, we have a big problem. The problem comes when we look at how the verification works. So when the session key is computed by the initiator, for example, this is from the perspective of initiator, it takes TR that is sent to its device from the responder, divides that by public key, and then raise this to that ephemeral randomness. Okay, and that's division just cancels what was supposed to mask. I mean, what was supposed to authenticate. So actually, that secret keys, that summation of partial secrets that makes the secret key, which is done in the exponent, are totally cancelled by the division with the public key. That's why the current session key is just G to the power RI RR. Okay, and the same value is computed by the responder. So now the attack is very straightforward. Actually, the main part is in that second step, when the attacker, after blocking the first message from the initiator to the responder, it blocks, it intercepts the session. It computes its own randomness. It computes its own TA, taking public key of the responder and multiplicating this by the G2RA. And proceeding with the rest of the protocol as it is the part of the protocols, as it is responder. So actually, the TA is constructed in a way that later the initiator just divides that what is sent by PKR and results with the session key, which is established with the attacker. So that construction, so I would come back. That construction is vulnerable because of the biggest problem. Okay, we have a very high level intuition. What should be done to provide a really secure authenticated key exchange for specific functionalities. Okay, so this is from the point of view of not high-level cryptographer, like that deals with models it's like from the utility perspective, okay? The tendency is just, okay, we have a general idea that some authentication over Diffie-Hellman should be done. Maybe it's not secure, so let's implement some enhancement techniques like split key or refreshment even. Let's add some message authentication code to that, and voila, we have a secure, at the first glimpse, a secure protocol. But it's like a reinvention of the things that are already given to us. It's like rediscovering America. So the idea that should be done, the proper methodology, is just choose the fundamental authenticated key exchange that is already existing, okay, and tune it to your functionality that you would like to implement in your own industrial scenario. If you have additional support, then precisely modify the cryptographic components of it. So for example, if that authenticated key exchange has signatures inside, so replace that signatures, the regular signatures, with the signatures with the split key. Put them into distinct HSMs, do the refreshment, maybe apply out-of-bound visual channel, okay, just to have the construction, but later prove with well-defined models the security of the whole construction. And for this we have such building blocks, like Sigma, which is from Sign and Mac name. It's like a 20 years old protocol by Kanetti Krawczyk, which is based on secure signatures, secure message authentication codes, and pseudorandom functions. Actually, we need non-invertibility of the function. So just to recall, the Sigma protocol is a Diffie-Hellman based protocol. Both parties, initiated and responder, coins their ephemeral keys. So X is a ephemeral secret key for the initiator, Y is an ephemeral secret key for the responder. So initiator, after coining the session identifier, sends G to X to the responder. Then the responder sends back to I, to the initiator, the same session identifier, and sends Y in the exponent of G, so G to Y. And then the rest is like a confirmation of the identity. So they send identifier, which could be like a certificate over the public key. Then we have the signature with the secret key corresponding to the public key of the responder over G2X and G2Y. S is a session identifier, 1 is just the role. Okay, 1 means I'm the responder. And we use the message authenticated code, keyed actually. The key for the message authentication code is done by computing intermediate Diffie-Hellman key, G2XY, okay, and then using the pseudorandom function with the key G2XY over 1, okay. So the signature here is like confirming that I produce that message which is signed, and that message is G2X, G2Y, this is an important component. And MAC then confirms my identity, okay? MAC with the key G2XY confirms the identity for that public key corresponding to my secret key that I use in my signature. And the same story in the other direction is done in the in the third message, okay? Interesting situation is when we remove the MAC. What would be if we remove the MAC part? Someone would think, oh, maybe MAC is not important. But if we remove that MAC confirmation, then unknown key share attack could be mounted upon this construction. So basically, the attacker, which has its own personality, which is registered in the system, replaces the last signature with its own signature, making the responder to believe that the initiator is the attacker. So actually, attacker doesn't know in that attack the session key, but it makes the responder to believe that he's talking with someone else. That's why the MAC is here implemented. That is very important. Okay, and so having that basic construction, that fundamental part of the construction, secure authenticated key exchange protocol, we can replace the regular signature with the split version. And actually, for the paper, we just choose the two-party Schnorr signature. But BLS multi-signature could be used for this. Of course, BLS signatures uses pairing-based cryptography. That's why it's, let's say, more heavy. They would require a smaller number of messages exchanged between HSMs. Here we have like 3 round protocol between HSMs, but it's more lightweight than BLS. So it's like a Schnorr version for multi-signatures. Okay, so we take the well-known construction. The main construction just uses splitted secret key, but also the authors describe how to use the refreshment with these signatures. And if we use the refreshment, then the unforgeability could be proven in a more refined model, in a more secure model, let's say, in which instead of having just simple sign oracle, because if we think about the security of signing, we are thinking about the adversary that has access to the signing oracles, like a real user that could sign a message. Okay, the attacker is learning from that signature. So here we have sign and reveal oracles instead of just sign oracle. When the attacker can produce the message of his own, put that message as an issuing the query to the oracle, saying, please sign me that message with your 2 HSMs and reveal me the partial key that is used during that signing in the HSM indicated by that index. So we have 2 indexes, one for revealing partial secret from HSM 1, and 2 for revealing partial secret from HSM 2. So here, for that construction, not only that secret is revealed, but also the messages that are exchanged between HSMs are revealed. So actually, even at the first glimpse, it's more stronger model than a regular one. So having modification for the signature component in our sigma-like construction, then we need to apply the proof for the whole construction. So for the regular sigma, we have the Kanaty-Krawczyk model. In that model, a different kind of oracles are available for the attacker, and that attacker can first of all, the main attack is to find out what is the secret key. The other attacks like breaking that authentication. But one of the oracles that are available in that Kanaty-Krawczyk model are a corrupt oracle pointing to the part in the protocol for the specific session, and then the secret key of that part is revealed. But we, of course, are dealing with the situations when we do not corrupt parties. So if the part is not corrupt and other requirements are fulfilled, then the protocol is regarded to be secure. So here, for that modified Kanaty-Krawczyk, we have another oracles that are wrappers over our oracles from the signature, multi-signature, two-party signature model. So actually, we have the partial key reveal that reveals the share of the HSM indicated by the index. So of course, if the corrupt oracle is prohibited in that real random game of the kinetic graphic model, then of course we shouldn't allow the attacker to reveal both secrets in one session, because it makes the attack trivial. So two partial key reveals from one and the second HSM would be just equivalent to corrupt. And yeah, so actually after switching the signature, we need to apply specific proofs to guarantee the security of the resulting construction. And the resulting construction is very straightforward. We just take sigma, and we replace some parts of that sigma with the modification. So for example, here we need to init initiator and init the responder, just to have that split secret in HSMs of the device of the initiator and of the device of the responder. And then instead of just having a regular sign, we just refresh. We run a refreshment procedure in both HSMs of the responder and the initiator. And after refreshment, we just sign the message that normally would be signed by the regular signature scheme. So we sign that with the help of both HSMs. So actually here we just use that two-partition or a protocol for signing. And after that, the verification is like a regular verification. We use one public key for that split secrets that are stored in HSMs. And then we can even apply the out-of-the-bound communication channel to verify what is displayed on both devices, just for the person that operates with those devices to be sure. Okay. And here we have the last slide that is like a warning. Okay? Because previously it's like, okay, it's doable, we can easily exchange some cryptographic building blocks with the other ones, but we need to be very cautious about what we do and for what purpose. For example, we can take sigma and would like to give another feature for sigma. So sigma are using signatures. So signatures could be used for tracing the parties that were involved in the protocol execution. So for example, if we care about privacy, we don't want to implement sigma, for example, because the attacker can record the communication and then could prove to the third party, oh, that particular Alice was involved because this is the Alice signature, which is verified, okay? So the protocols that allows for such a tracking are not deniable. We call them not deniable protocols. So if we would like to have deniability in sigma, we can, for example, replace the regular signature with its anonymous equivalent, which is ring signature, actually. Ring signatures are done with the secret key of a person that belongs to the anonymity set of that ring signature. So here we have the anonymity set that involves public key of the initiator and public key of the responder. So, for example, here in the message 3, the initiator uses ring signatures with his secret key to sign that corresponding message using the anonymity set, using the public key of himself or herself, here, Alice, and of the Bob. Okay, when Bob gets that signature, it verifies it, and he concludes, okay, this is a ring signature, I'm the potential signer, and Alice is the potential signer, but I didn't sign. So yeah, that should be Alice that signed that message. Okay, now I believe I'm talking to Alice. Okay, Alice proves his identity. But this is vulnerable to so-called key compromise impersonation attack, where actually it could be not Alice that makes that ring signature. We can imagine of a scenario where a malicious bank administrator, so bank is a BOP, okay? Bank is a BOP. So malicious administrator extracts secret key of a bank, then goes home, okay, and tries to run this protocol with a bank, pretending to be some wealthy person. I don't know who is wealthy, Elon Musk, okay? He's pretending to be Elon Musk, using the bank's secret key to prove to be Elon Musk, sending Elon Musk identity, Elon Musk public key, etc. Because from the cryptographic point of view, those two signatures, the signature done with the secret key, one secret key corresponding to the public key from the anonymity set, is indistinguishable from the signature done with just the other secret key from that anonymity set. Okay, so of course we acquire, we get that deniability property, but we are now vulnerable to key compromise impersonation attack. So this is like a lesson that it's, I mean, always we need to think what kind of functionality we want to achieve and what is the requirement for security in that resulting construction. And that concludes my talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Let's thank the speaker again.